Alright, so this is the first video of the week. It's Monday. I just got from work and obviously I just watched the third episode of The Last of Us. The thing is, I don't know if this comes off as like a regular thing, but I didn't plan on making this video yet again. But I found things that I want to talk about again, so that's what I am doing. And if you don't like it, you know where to, click to make the video go away. There is like a couple things, obviously, but I have to say, I I'm just, you know what? I'm so jaded. I'm so just used to a lot of things that I enjoy being wasted and being, just used and abused for gain, for money, for views. This show has been for me, sort of, so far at least, some kind of place where I can almost, like so far, almost always, I can just say I'm just very pleasantly surprised. And yeah, third episode was no different. Um, One thing, and obviously, if you watched the episode, you know what I'm gonna talk about, but there are gonna be spoilers regardless. Um, One thing about this episode that I imagine some people will pick a bone with, maybe, I don't know, and I'd make sort of a rule out of not, seeking out people's opinions, especially when it comes to things that I enjoy, because internet has a very, very big history fucking up things for me specifically. So if I do like the thing that I liked, then I usually just don't care what everybody else thinks about it. And that's what kept me happy, at least for a very long time. And I would advise you to follow the same sort of mentality. Um, but back to what I wanted to talk about, third episode, we are following for the first time, because the first two episodes we are following Joel, and second episode was also about Ellie, which is the whole show, I'm guessing, is gonna be about. But this episode we have a different approach to a character that was in the game, which is Bill. Bill was some sort of proxy. In the game, he was kind of meant to represent the means to get something done, which in the episode is similar function, but we basically get much more in-depth look at the character as well as at the Frank character, about which we know very little, basically nothing, in the game. As far as I remember, I think Frank kills himself, like by, hanging, and that's how we find out. I wish that I would have enough foresight to say, and now I will show you the scene from the game.
Jesus. What, you know this guy or something?
I probably will, but I can't promise it. So if I didn't do it, if that's not on the screen right now, I hope you played the game. If you didn't play the game, you should fucking play the game. But basically, Frank in game is not anywhere close this much like of a character. Which I'm just guessing. This is by the way, this episode is not directed by Neil Druckmann. I forget the name. I've seen it on the screen. I don't remember the name. Nevertheless, I hardly doubt that Neil Druckmann, as somebody who wrote the characters, had no say in it. So I'm pretty sure everything and anything you may or may not have problems with in terms of the two characters, you're just dumbass. But you know what? I don't want to argue in this video. I'm just saying, if you thought something was wrong with this episode in any aspect at all, and you fucking know what I'm talking about, um, then you really have to shut the fuck up because you are dumb. I'm sorry, because I know that sounds really hostile from me, but I'm just saying it because I know people are dumb and people will look for things to complain about. And I'm just telling you, if you want that great show to watch that is made with, like, as much passion as you can fucking fathom these days, uh, and a lot of a lot of big budget and a lot of good writing. This is the Game of Thrones of a post-apocalypse. Get used to the fact that everything so far, at least, like I said, I don't know what can happen next episode, but so far all of this show is great. It really is. And objectively speaking, when you compare it to the game and how the game explains the characters, it all matches. Even the things that are in this episode, they all match in some way. I am about to talk about that actually. I don't want to beat around the bush with what's happened in this episode. Is that in the game we don't really get to understand who is Frank to Bill at all, and we don't get, obviously we don't get what we got in this episode, which is like the complete renovation or just like explanation of who these two characters are and stuff. So in this episode, Bill and Frank get together in romantically, and I'm just watching this, and I'm so, like I have no problem with it, but the first thing that comes to my mind is like this big sigh, and just like, people on internet will have problem with this, aren't they? But maybe not. I don't know. I didn't read anything at all, and I'm not planning on it, because like if you pick a problem with this, kill yourself. I'm sorry. Like you are going against the writer of the game, so you are dumb. Just that's it. Just if you have problem with this, idea of the two characters being like romantically involved, uh, then just it makes no sense. You are just making problems for yourself. It's that simple. Um, why am I even making this weird, right? Why is this guy fucking fixated? I am fixated on this because Bill in the game, and even Bill in the show, Bill in the episode, it doesn't come off as one of those people. Like, I don't know, like it's true. In the game, you wouldn't think they had romantic relationship.
Who the hell's Frank?
He was my partner. He's the only idiot that would wear a shirt like that. So that's how you feel. Well, fuck you too, Frank.
And in the show, is the thing in the show is that they actually show how that progression happened with Bill and Frank. Like, it's actually explained in the show, but in the game, you wouldn't think they had anything going on like this at all. And, matter of the fact, in the game, I don't think it was like this, because, in the episode, they both, like, basically died together, right? And in the game, it's like nothing like this. If it's because Neil Druckmann at the time didn't want it that way, or if it's because there wasn't room for it, not sure. Maybe Sony said we can't have that type of thing in the game. No idea. I don't wanna draw any conclusions from this. What I'm drawing conclusions from is like this show is supposed to draw the detailed picture of what the story and the characters are really in real, like as close to real life as possible. And it's a medium for the person who originally wrote all these characters to do that, right? Because in the games you don't usually get to get everything out the way you want. Hopefully this is the medium where that happens, and I'm assuming that that's what it is. So uh, the only thing to say is that I'm glad that both of the characters got their story the way it's supposed to be. Uh, it's different from the game. I don't mind that. In fact, I'm actually kind of glad it's different from the game, because I didn't really look forward to seeing action scenes, I guess you would say, with Bill, Joel, and Ellie, because that's what happened in the game. And I wouldn't mind recreation of it, but it's just that like we got enough recreations of things, and this was literally completely new. And on top of that, it was actually a really fun episode because we got the perspective uh, from a person who like, these people, right, who like prep. They are preppers. It's even said in the show. These people are preppers, right? Like the people who built the secret bunkers with all the guns and all the food, right? So like we got a perspective from Bill, who is a prepper, in in the universe, right? In this timeline, I guess. And he well, he's prepper in the game too, I think, but I don't think you get it again. You don't get that much of a view to his character, not nearly as much as in the show. So yeah, so Bill is a prepper, and we basically don't immediately start with it, but we do like we get a very short intro. I think, man, I actually don't remember the episode that much. I don't wanna lie. That's why I'm like stopping myself, but it doesn't matter. We start, and the whole episode is about Bill. Bill the prepper, right? He has all the plans. He knows what to do. The episode is about, the way it starts is that like, oh, we have to, take people to quarantine, and Bill is one of those people who obviously, he's a little bit one of those people who don't believe government, which, ironically pays off for him. Like I said, he has the bunker, he has the weapons, the equipment, he's ready, and we see that. There's like, I don't want to say like a montage, but it's kind of like it, like music's playing. He's like getting his new place done, or like fence, setting up everything. It's fun. Like the episode starts like in a fun way. We also get this I don't know how to call this, but basically Joel and Ellie are heading somewhere. I'm guessing they're trying to find the car or car battery, and we see this scene that is actually important for what's happening in the show or in this episode, because we see a scene where there is like a mass grave of people that were not infected but they didn't fit into the quarantine, and Joel explains that people who were evacuated at the time, if they couldn't fit inside the quarantine zone, they would just execute them because it's simpler like that way, which closely ties to the fact that Bill, albeit he does look like a little bit of a wacko, I guess. He comes off like a prepper, typical prepper who is like armed to the teeth, and he is basically out on his own. But in this instance, he is actually right. If he didn't do it, it's a good chance he would have died, and we see very close tie to it in the show. So that's sort of to explain that Bill may come off as like a strange person in these terms, but it actually saved his life. So that's nice. And yeah, the episode goes on. I don't think there's some like necessity to go into bigger detail of everything that's happening. At some point, they get visitors, which is Joel and Tess, which is I'm guessing the timeline is in the show. I just don't remember it. Just wanna clear it out. Uh, it's a couple years before, I'm guessing, they even meet Ellie, and we get like into the present. Uh, Joel and Tess meet up with Frank and Bill, and they like they are there, they eat and stuff like that. So that was nice because I don't know, for some reason I didn't expect that. I don't know, it's dumb from me probably to not expect it, but I didn't. So it's kind of nice surprise for me, to the dumb viewer, I suppose. And the episode ends with Joel and Ellie getting to the secret house. I don't know. It's not a single house. It's like the thing is like the entire block of houses. I don't know how to call it exactly. It's like an area that's fenced up and stuff. So they get there, right, and they just find the house empty, or not empty technically, but it's empty of any human life, and they find them both dead, and they get the car, and they are on the way to episode 4. One thing I will say, this is already a 15-minute video. I'm sorry, I don't know how I do this. I guess I just ramble. I guess that's just my quality. But there's one thing I want to point out. uh, One thing I really appreciated, and one thing that will get overlooked, I can almost promise you. But it's very big giveaway, I guess. That the writing is done well, that the characters are being like observed by the writers of the show very well, is the fact that at the very end of the episode, Joel and Ellie they get into the car, um, and Ellie immediately starts like fidgeting with everything, right? Like with the rear view mirror, with side mirrors, doing all kinds of things. Doesn't know that seat belt, what is seat belt and what to do with it. Uh, and Joel just kind of points out first time in a car, and it would absolutely be a first time in a car for Ellie. Like likely, I guess maybe she was in a car before, but never like in a passenger seat, I'm guessing. So a detail, a dumb detail that you wouldn't even, maybe you wouldn't even notice it. Maybe you were just not even listening to the show because it's very towards the end of the episode. But to me, that speaks volumes because this is one of those details that is very easy, and it would not even be like a big deal to anybody, I think, if it was overlooked. Like, oh, Ellie wouldn't know what the fuck, like how it looks in a car probably, and she wouldn't know how to behave. She wouldn't know where is passenger not passenger seatbelt. She wouldn't know things, right? That's like one of those things that I just appreciate, and this show haven't like it has done it before. There are many details in episode 1 and 2. I don't remember right now if I've covered them or all of them, but there's a video that I go through episode 1 and 2 uh, that I hope will be linked somewhere if you really fucking wanna know these things that much. I doubt it, but it's gonna be somewhere linked. And this show has just very nice feel to it. I'm sure people more qualified than me and less, biased than me can tell you what all the things that are wrong with this episode or with this show. I don't care about that. I don't care about these people, and I don't care about their opinions because I'm not an objective person here. I know that. I love this, and every change that's made, I try to be objective about it, and so far, I just can't help but really like everything about this. There is one thing I noticed, again, that's at the end with Joel and Ellie in this episode, where Ellie finds a note or letter, I guess, to Joel from Bill. Joel comes in the room and he just assumes that they are dead, and Ellie says, "Yeah, they are dead." And she holds the letter, right? And so she offers Joel to read it, but he tells her that she can read it. And now I have a little bit of a problem. That's like the only time, I guess, really I had a problem with this one. And so she reads it, and there is a line that I'm trying to get right, but I will probably not get it right. So, you probably should watch it yourself if you want it correctly, but you will know what I'm talking about. The line goes, take Bill says in the letter to Joel, take any equipment, every gun you want to protect, and then she cuts herself off, right? Ellie doesn't want to continue. Obviously, I think that's gonna be obvious for everybody who watches. The letter says to protect Tess, right? Who died. And I'm just sitting there thinking like, well, I mean, this is obviously like in the script for, just I guess for dramatic effect, for Joel to start, processing Tess is dead and all that. But if Ellie is sitting there, obviously bored, waiting for Joel, and she for some reason didn't read the letter like all the way, and now you could say, "Oh, you're nitpicking." I'm definitely nitpicking. Like I can't argue. This is definitely nitpicking, but I'm just saying it's a little bit weird. It comes off a little bit weird to me because she would 100% read all of the letter. Like especially because when you go to the scene, you see how she's bored. So definitely she has something else to do. So I think she definitely read all the letter. Maybe you could say, right? You could argue maybe she read it, but she didn't like really realize until she started reading it to Joel. Maybe she shouldn't say that, right? Or maybe she just didn't read it all the way. It's possible. Bullshit on the second one. The first one, I guess you could be that guy to say maybe she just didn't realize that it's kind of shit to say to Joel. I would go with that if anything, but mainly I will just say a little bit of like of a speed bump, I would say, on otherwise pretty good road in the episode. It seemed a little bit weird, that's all. It just seemed like Ellie came off in this scene kinda dumb, because she definitely knows what's in the letter, but she just like does this awkward moment, so Joel has to pick up the letter and read it, so we get the scene where he reads it and we know what's in the letter. It's just kind of weird. I don't know. That's like the only thing I have to say about the episode, really. It came out a little bit weird. Yeah, and I guess that's all I wanted to really say about the episode. Again, I just want to apologize. It's 20 fucking minutes long. I don't really do videos like this ever, and I'm not used to doing them like this, and I doubt, there will be a show again on HBO that's, I think, higher budget than Game of Thrones was. Maybe not, that actually might not be true, I'm not sure. Definitely high budget show about Last of Us, which is one of my favorite video games. So I can't help but cover it. It's just something that you can feel free to completely ignore, and I wouldn't mind it, and I wouldn't blame you. So that's it for me. Not a review, just kind of like first impressions slash I just watched the episode and I want to vent. I want to fucking talk into a monitor for 20 minutes. So here it is, and whoever is watching these for some reason, thanks for listening. Thank you for attention, for 20 fucking minutes of attention. You could have done so many better things with your life for 20 minutes than this. But that's your life, and I appreciate you. So see you in the next one. Bye.